Uganda, we have a saying, wickedness can't done. Now, the term wickedness can't done is used to describe any crime, any act that is so heinous, any act that is like the lowest of the low, that has caused harm to somebody. The following story that I'll be telling you about falls into that category, wickedness can't done. This is of a UN judge who teamed up with a former high commissioner of a country based at the embassy in London. Now, here is the story that I am going to tell you about. First, what I want to do is to read the article of what landed this UN judge in jail, and I also have a clip of what happened when she was being arrested by the police. But here we go. It says a United Nations judge has been jailed for 6 years and 4 months for forcing a woman to work as a domestic slave. And that took place here in the UK. But let us hear how it started. Lydia Mugambe, 50, was studying for a PhD in law at the University of Oxford when police discovered she had a young Ugandan woman at her home carrying out unpaid work as a maid and nanny. Yes, you heard me correctly. This lady is a UN judge of Uganda. And on top of that, she came to the UK to do her PhD in law. So this is someone who has sworn to uphold the law, and yet she had conspired with someone else of equal high stature to cause really mental ache, emotional distress to someone else. But let me tell you how it started and why the former Deputy High Commissioner got involved. High Commissioner of Uganda, stationed at the embassy in London. So as it unfolds, what I really like about the justice system here in the UK, and I'm sure that it is like that wherever you go, in that when they are investigating a case, it doesn't matter how long it takes for the case to be solved. They continue, they go on, and rightly so, they keep everything private until there is a conviction. So this is what happened. So remember the name of the United Nations judge. Her name is Lydia Mugambe. And what I'm going to say Mugambe for short. So Mugambe came to the UK to study law, a PhD in law. For whatever reason, she came in contact, or perhaps they knew each other before. And I'm talking about the Ugandan High Commission in the UK. So what they conspired to do was to do, what would I say, an exchange, but it was a conspiracy. In this conspiracy, the High Commissioner of the Ugandan High Commissioner stationed in London was to sponsor a young lady from Uganda. But what they told the Ugandan young lady, was that she was coming to work with the High Commissioner to do paid work with the High Commissioner. And this is customary. So what the High Commissioner did, the role that he played, was to sponsor the visa. Now, as a judge, Mugambe, what she did was to take care of the paperwork and the visa. So she took care of the visa in that, she completed the forms and everything. It worked to the extent that the lady actually came to the UK. So the lady was from Uganda, and she came to the UK. When she came to the UK, remember, she was of the opinion that she was coming to work with the High Commissioner of Uganda stationed in London to be, to be his house help. But what happened when she turned up at the airport, when she arrived in the UK, Mugambe, the United Nations, the judge, turned up at the airport to collect her. When she collected her, she took her to her own home. And that was where she kept this lady captive all this time. This lady was working, and they said for protection purposes, they have not given the name of the young lady, and rightly so, because she said that she was she's in fear of her life. Okay, so she worked with Mugambe, where she was kept. She was being the house help, and she was the nanny as well. All this time, she drove fear into the house help, because you would imagine that after a while, the house help started asking questions: when would I be going to my rightful workplace? But that was not to be, because from the start, that was not the plan. It's just that the young lady was not aware of the plan that they had behind the scenes. So fortunately, however way it happened, Miss Mugambe was approached by the police. And you know that the police would have done their thorough investigation before they approached Miss Mugambe to do the arrest, Lydia Mugambe, to do the arrest. And I'm going to show you a clip of what happened when the police turned up to arrest Lydia Mugambe. Let us turn our attention to this clip. Now, before I go into the police clip, you probably are wondering what happened to the Deputy High Commissioner. What was the exchange? What was the agreement? Now, the agreement was, at the time, the Deputy High Commissioner, that is John Mugawa, had an ongoing case in Uganda. So the agreement was for Miss Mugambe to help him to do something about that case, to help it for it to disappear. And in exchange, the Deputy High Commissioner, that is John Magobra, I hope I'm saying it correctly, would sponsor the young lady into the UK. So that was the exchange. That was the agreement that they had. Now, let us look at what happened when the police visited Miss Mugambe.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to now arrest you on suspicion of keeping somebody in slavery and servitude under the Modern Slavery Act. So you don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned, something which later on in court.
Officer.
Anything you do say may be used as evidence. All right. Sorry?
I am a judge in my country. I even have immunity. I am not a criminal.
You've got immunity in this country?
Yes. I have a diplomatic passport.
You're a diplomat?
Yes.
So we'll need to see that then.
Yes.
And then we'll need to speak to the embassy. If you are a diplomat.
I came here as a student. I don't need to work for me. I didn't come with her. She asked me because she has worked at my home before. She asked me.
So you see her reaction. Look at her reaction. She was about evil. She wanted to claim immunity because of her diplomatic status. Now she came to the UK as a student, which she actually said in the video itself. Now she is behind bars. She has been sentenced to 6 years and let me see how many months. 6 years and 4 months. And you will know that she will no longer, even after serving the 6 years and 4 months, you know what is going to happen next. She's going to be deported. As to whether or not she will still be able to practice as a judge or whether she will lose her license, only the law will determine that. Because when she goes back to Uganda, then of course I'm sure that they will decide that, right? So you look at it, people who are in charge, people are in power, who are in power, sometimes you have bad apples. And this is an example of a bad apple who was willing to abuse her power and inflict emotional distress on another human being. So you may ask, okay, so what happened to her? What happened about her studies at the university that she was doing, in that she was doing her PhD? The University of Oxford here in the UK, what they have said was that what they are going to do is that they are going to ensure that the proper procedure that is in place will be allowed, to take its course as to what happens next. And of course, it's highly likely that she will be removed from the university, meaning her student status will be removed. So she will no longer be a student at that particular university. So you may ask, okay, how does it end? What happened to the young lady? What about the High Commissioner? As far as the lady is concerned, meaning the young lady, she is in fear for her life, in that she says that she will not be able to go back to Uganda because of, the powerful people involved in this case. So as to what will happen next, of course, there is human rights, and I'm sure that the UK will do what is in place to for cases like this. Now, as for the Deputy High Commissioner, can you imagine the Deputy High Commissioner of Uganda? As where he's concerned, he was able to claim diplomatic rights. So because of his diplomatic rights, they were not able to arrest him or to pursue any case against him. So he is off the case per se. So the only way that they could have taken further action against the commissioner was if Uganda was to waive his rights, and it was not waived. So that's where it has ended. So I'm happy that yes, justice has been served in this case, and I hope that the young lady will be able to pick up the pieces and continue with her life. Okay, Destiny? Sound off in the comment section if there's anything you want to contribute to this case that I've told you about. And until I upload another video, my family, I say peace.